Have you ever felt different, like you don't quite fit in? Do you sometimes wonder why you experience the world so intensely, or why others don't seem to understand you? If so, you might have heard the term crystal child and wondered if it applies to you. Today, we're going to explore a less discussed aspect of this concept, the challenges that come with being labeled a crystal child. The idea of crystal children first emerged in the early 2000s, gaining popularity in spiritual and New Age circles. According to this belief, crystal children are thought to be highly sensitive, intuitive, and empathetic individuals who are here to bring about positive change in the world. While this might sound wonderful at first, there's more to the story than meets the eye. Let's start by understanding what people mean when they talk about crystal children. These individuals are often described as having a strong connection to spiritual or energetic realms. They're said to be highly attuned to their environment and the emotions of those around them. Many believe that crystal children have a special purpose or mission on Earth, which can be both exciting and daunting. The positive traits associated with crystal children are numerous. They're often described as deeply empathetic, able to sense and understand the feelings of others with remarkable accuracy. This empathy extends beyond just people. Many crystal children are said to have a strong connection with nature and animals. They're also believed to be highly intuitive, sometimes knowing things without being told or having a clear reason for their knowledge. Another common trait attributed to crystal children is their sensitivity. This isn't just about emotional sensitivity, although that's certainly part of it. Crystal children are often described as being sensitive to their physical environment as well. They might be more affected by loud noises, bright lights, or crowded spaces than others. Some people believe this sensitivity is a sign of their heightened awareness and connection to the world around them. While these traits might sound positive, they can also present significant challenges. Let's dive into some of the difficulties that can come with being labeled a crystal child or experiencing the traits associated with this concept. One of the biggest challenges is dealing with overwhelming emotions. Imagine feeling not just your own emotions, but also absorbing the feelings of everyone around you. It can be exhausting and confusing, especially if you don't understand what's happening or how to manage it. This emotional overload can lead to anxiety, depression, or a sense of being constantly overwhelmed. The heightened sensitivity often attributed to crystal children can also make everyday life challenging. Things that others barely notice might feel intense or even painful. A trip to a busy shopping mall could be an assault on the senses, with bright lights, loud noises, and the energy of crowds becoming almost unbearable. This can lead to feelings of isolation or a desire to avoid certain situations, which can impact social life and daily functioning. Speaking of social life, many people who identify with the crystal child concept report struggling to connect with their peers. They might feel like they're on a different wavelength, unable to relate to the interests or concerns of those around them. This can lead to loneliness and a deep sense of being misunderstood. It's not uncommon for these individuals to feel more comfortable with adults or animals than with children their own age. Another significant challenge is the burden of expectations that comes with being labeled as special or gifted. Whether it's parents, teachers, or spiritual communities, there can be a lot of pressure on crystal children to live up to their supposed potential. This can create anxiety and self-doubt, especially if the individual doesn't feel like they're meeting these lofty expectations. The concept of crystal children isn't without its skeptics. In fact, the scientific community generally doesn't recognize it as a valid psychological or physiological phenomenon. This can create additional stress for those who identify with the concept, as they may face disbelief or dismissal from others including medical professionals. It's important to remember that while many people find the crystal child concept meaningful, it's not a scientifically proven or medically recognized condition. Physical and health issues are another aspect of the crystal child experience that's often discussed. Some believe that crystal children are more likely to have sensitivities to foods, environmental factors, or even electromagnetic fields. They might struggle with sleep problems, headaches, or other physical symptoms that are difficult to diagnose or treat. While these issues can have many causes, they can be particularly frustrating for those who attribute them to being a crystal child, as traditional medical approaches might not always provide relief. The emotional challenges of being a crystal child can be particularly intense. The ability to sense and absorb others' emotions, while potentially valuable, can also be a heavy burden. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the feelings swirling around you, losing track of which emotions are yours and which belong to others. This can lead to emotional burnout and exhaustion, making it difficult to maintain healthy relationships or engage fully in daily life. One of the most significant challenges for those who identify as crystal children is learning to balance their perceived gifts with the practical demands of everyday life. It's one thing to be intuitive and empathetic, but it's another to navigate school, work, and social relationships while managing intense sensitivities. Finding this balance often requires developing coping strategies and support systems. Grounding is a concept that's often discussed in relation to crystal children. The idea is that these highly sensitive individuals need to find ways to stay connected to the physical world and their own bodies, rather than getting lost in emotions or spiritual realms. This might involve practices like spending time in nature, engaging in physical exercise, or using visualization techniques. Learning to ground oneself can be a crucial skill for managing the challenges of being a crystal child. Creating boundaries is another essential skill for those who identify with the crystal child concept. When you're highly empathetic and sensitive, it's easy to become enmeshed in others' problems or to let your own needs fall by the wayside. Learning to set healthy boundaries, both energetically and in practical terms, can help prevent burnout and maintain a sense of self. It's important to consider the impact of labels like crystal child on an individual's self-perception and development. While some find comfort and explanation in these concepts, others might feel limited or defined by them. There's a risk of using the label as a crutch or an excuse rather than as a tool for understanding and growth. As we explore the challenges of being a crystal child, it's crucial to remember that every individual's experience is unique. Whether or not you resonate with this concept, the traits often associated with crystal children, sensitivity, empathy, intuition, exist on a spectrum. Many people experience these traits to varying degrees, regardless of whether they identify with the crystal child label. For those who do identify as crystal children or resonate with the associated traits, finding support can be crucial. This might involve connecting with like-minded individuals who understand your experiences. Online communities, support groups, or spiritual circles can provide a sense of belonging and validation. However, it's important to approach these resources critically and not rely solely on them for guidance or healing. Or, professional support can also be valuable. While the concept of crystal children isn't recognized in mainstream psychology, many of the challenges associated with it, such as high sensitivity, empathy, and difficulty with sensory processing, are well-documented phenomena. A mental health professional can help develop coping strategies, work through emotional challenges, and address any underlying mental health concerns. It's also worth exploring various holistic and alternative approaches to managing sensitivity and empathy. Practices like meditation, yoga, or energy work resonate with many who identify as crystal children. These can provide tools for managing overwhelming emotions and sensations. However, it's important to approach these practices as complementary to rather than replacements for conventional medical and mental health care when needed. Education can be a powerful tool for those navigating the challenges of being a crystal child. Learning about topics like emotional intelligence, sensory processing, and stress management can provide practical strategies for daily life. Understanding the scientific perspectives on sensitivity and empathy can also help bridge the gap between spiritual beliefs and empirical knowledge. For parents or caregivers of children who might be identified as crystal children, it's important to provide support while also encouraging resilience and independence. While it's valuable to honor a child's sensitivity and unique traits, it's equally important to help them develop the skills they need to navigate the world effectively. This might involve teaching coping strategies, encouraging social skills development, and providing a stable, nurturing environment. As we consider the challenges of being a crystal child, it's important to recognize the potential strengths as well. High sensitivity, empathy, and intuition can be valuable traits when properly understood and managed. These qualities can lead to deep, meaningful relationships, creative insights, and a profound connection to the world around us. The key is learning to harness these traits effectively rather than being overwhelmed by them. It's also worth considering how the concept of crystal children fits into broader societal trends. In recent years, there's been increasing recognition of neurodiversity and the value of different ways of experiencing and interacting with the world. While the crystal child concept isn't a recognized neurodevelopmental condition, the experiences described by many who identify with it align with growing discussions about sensitivity, empathy, and alternative ways of perceiving reality. As we wrap up our exploration of the challenges faced by those who identify as crystal children, it's important to reflect on the bigger picture. Whether or not you resonate with this specific concept, the experiences and traits we've discussed are real for many people. Sensitivity, empathy, and intuition are valuable human qualities that can enrich our lives and our world when properly understood and nurtured. If you find yourself relating to the challenges we've discussed, remember that you're not alone. Many people struggle with feeling different or overwhelmed by the world around them. The key is to find healthy ways to manage your unique traits and experiences, whether that involves seeking support, developing coping strategies, or reframing your perspective. It's also important to maintain a balanced view. While labels like crystal child can provide a sense of identity and explanation, they shouldn't limit your understanding of yourself or your potential. You are a complex, multifaceted individual with the capacity for growth and change. Your sensitivity and empathy can be strengths if you learn to work with them effectively. Remember, too, that it's okay to seek help when you need it. Whether you're dealing with emotional overwhelm, social challenges, or physical sensitivities, there are resources and professionals available to support you. Don't hesitate to reach out if you're struggling. Ultimately, the goal is to find a way to live authentically and effectively, honoring your unique traits while also developing the skills you need to thrive in the world. This might involve a combination of self-reflection, practical strategies, and support from others who understand your experiences. As we conclude, I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Do you resonate with any of the challenges we've discussed? How have you navigated feelings of being different or overwhelmed? Your insights and experiences are valuable, and sharing them can help others who might be on a similar path. Remember, whether you identify as a crystal child or simply as a sensitive, empathetic person, your experiences are valid. The challenges you face are real, but so are your strengths and potential. By understanding yourself better and developing effective coping strategies, you can turn what might feel like a burden into a source of strength and insight. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the challenges of being a crystal child. I hope this discussion has provided some valuable insights and food for thought. Remember, your journey is unique, and you have the power to shape your path forward. Stay curious, stay compassionate, both with yourself and others, and keep exploring the depths of your own potential.